why is this wrong? We've got a lot to do today. Well, in the next 40 minutes, you're going to fix this and all the other common mistakes that most of my students have made over the past 20 years, so that your English grammar will very, very quickly become more advanced. I've got 21 sentences with mistakes that I know you make, and I'm going to give you 3 seconds to find the mistake before I help you master that piece of English grammar. Okay, can you find the mistake in this sentence? I stayed during 3 weeks. Okay, the problem here is that we use during to tell us when something happens. For example, I was really focused during the class. I was focused. When did that happen? During the class. I was very bored during the flight. I was bored. When did it happen? During the flight. But we use for to express the duration of an action. For example, she stayed with us for 3 weeks. Here, 3 weeks is the duration of the action. She stayed with us. I'll call you during my lunch break, but I can only talk for about 10 minutes. Okay, so in the sentence, we don't want to say I stayed during 3 weeks. We want to say I stayed for 3 weeks. Okay, and in this video, I'm going to put a few summaries of each grammar point on screen, just in case you want to pause the video and take notes. Okay, so here are a few other examples of when we can use during, when we can use for, to help you use them in your spoken English. If you want to pause the video, then feel free and take notes. Okay, the next sentence is this. We had a nice travel to the beach. That's right, the incorrect word here is travel. And hey, keep a note of how many mistakes you find. And please, when you've finished watching this video, leave a comment to tell me how many mistakes you found. Although number 18 might confuse you. Anyway, let's continue. The problem with this sentence is the confusion between the words travel, trip, and journey. Now, basically, travel is a noun that describes the general action. Like, I love foreign travel. Foreign travel helps open your mind. It's also a verb. I love to travel. Exploring new places is so exciting. Trip, however, refers to a specific visit. It includes going there, spending time there, and coming back. For example, we took a weekend trip to the mountains. And journey is simply the process of going from one place to another place. For example, the journey across the country was incredible. So, with that in mind, we don't want to say we had a nice travel to the beach. We're talking about going there, spending time there, and coming back. The whole thing. So, we should say we had a nice trip to the beach. Okay, and here are some collocations, in other words, some groups of words that we can often use together, so you can see these 3 words in different contexts. Again, feel free to pause the video, take notes, and keep this as a reference. Okay, number 3 is, I am used to play football every Saturday. Now, if you are like most of the students I have taught, you probably sometimes get confused between used to, be used to, and usually. And here's the rule. We use used to talk about past habits that were true in the past and are not true now. For example, I used to live in England. This was a habit, an ongoing truth, which was true in the past, but it's not true now. I used to live in England. Now, we use be used to, like I am used to, you are used to, he was used to. This means that you are accustomed to something, that something is normal for you. It wasn't normal at the beginning, but it is normal now. Why? Because you went through that process of getting used to it, and now you are used to it. For example, now I am used to the Spanish way of life. And finally, usually is something that we use for current habits, things that happen regularly in the present. For example, we usually go out for dinner on Fridays. Okay, this is something that maybe doesn't happen every single Friday, but normally, usually, we usually go out for dinner on Fridays. And that is why this sentence is wrong. I am used to play football every Saturday. Here, specifically, I am talking about a past habit, something that was true when I was a kid, but isn't true now. So, we have to say, I used to play football every Saturday without am. Okay, let's see if you can find the next mistake. Let's meet in Friday at 12 o'clock. Okay, prepositions of time are not particularly advanced, but so many students make mistakes with these. And the rule is quite simple. We use on for days, like on Monday, on Tuesday. My birthday is on Friday. We use in for months. The event is in June. The final is in May. And we use at for specific times, like let's meet at 7 o'clock. So you don't want to say let's meet in Friday at 12 o'clock. No, Friday is a day, so we use on. Let's meet on Friday at 12 o'clock. Okay, and we don't just need to use on for the days of the week. It can be any one specific day. Here are some examples where we can use on my birthday, on New Year's Eve, on April Fool's Day, and a few more examples of when we can use in and at. Okay, can you find the mistake in this sentence? I will be leaving my job later today. Okay, job or work? Well, job refers to a specific role. Like, he has a new job as a teacher. I love my job. What's your job? However, work is the verb. For example, I work Monday to Friday. And as a noun, it's the activity. For example, I have so much work to do. And also the place where you work. So she loves her job, but she always leaves work very late, which is similar to the first sentence we looked at. I will be leaving my job late today. That's wrong because we're talking about the place, the office, or wherever you work. So in this situation, we have to say, I will be leaving work late today. Okay, let's see if you can find this mistake. I've gone to Paris twice. Okay, been or gone? A very common mistake with a very simple explanation. Basically, if you have been to a place, it means that you went to that place, you stayed in that place, and you came back. However, if you have gone somewhere, then you went to that place and you are still in that place. You didn't come home. The trip was not completed. So, for example, you could say, I've been to that museum 3 times. Because obviously, you went, you saw the museum, and you came home. But you would say, she has gone to the supermarket. She'll be back soon. In this sentence, she is at the supermarket now. I've never been to China. Again, here we're talking about a full trip, obviously. So we use been and not gone. So you can't say, I've gone to Paris twice. No, again, we're talking about going to Paris, seeing Paris, and coming home. So you want to say, I've been to Paris twice. All right, the next one is this. I want to can speak English fluently. All right, can and be able to. They mean the same thing, right? Well, yes, but we have to use them in different ways. I mean, okay, be able to might be a little bit more formal, but the thing is, it works in all the tenses, whereas can only works in the present tense, I can, the past, I could, and the hypothetical, I could. There's no infinitive. We can't say to can, or will can, or don't can. All right? So in the present tense, we can say, I can swim really well, but as you can see, be able to, all we need to do is change the verb be, and we can put it in any tense you want. She was able to solve the problem on her own. I don't think I will be able to help you tomorrow. So in the original sentence, I want to can speak English fluently. That's wrong because we can't use can in the infinitive with to. We have to say, I want to be able to speak English fluently. Now, talking of wanting to speak English fluently, this video, as you can see, is a great resource, a great reference, but if you want to really fix these mistakes forever, you need to actively practice using them. And to help you with this, I've created an English quick fix pack. This includes PDF summaries of all the lessons in this video and challenge so that you can use this grammar and get immediate corrections, and a progress tracker so you can actually track your progress. And this is really going to help you fix all these common mistakes in English, make a huge difference to your English, and it's free. So you can click up there to download the pack. You can also use the QR code or click the link in the description, and I'm sure you're going to love it. Okay, let's have a look at sentence number 8. I expect you feel better soon. Okay, hope or expect? Well, hope expresses a wish. It's what you want to happen in the future. For example, I hope it doesn't rain tomorrow. That's what I want to happen. However, expect implies anticipation. It's what we want to happen or what we anticipate will happen. Just be careful with the grammar structure of this verb. It's expect to verb or expect noun. For example, we expect the package to arrive today. Okay, that's what I think will happen. It didn't arrive yesterday, so I expect it to arrive today, and I hope you enjoy your holiday. That's what I want to happen, but I expect a present when you return. So, from the original sentence, it's not I expect you feel better soon. Expect shows anticipation, what I think will happen. Now, here we're talking about what I want to happen, so we use hope. I hope you feel better soon. Okay, can you find the mistake in this sentence? We've got a lot of cakes to do today. Make or do. This is such a common mistake, mainly because many languages have only one verb for these two verbs in English. And the general rule is that we use make for creating things and do for actions or tasks. For example, she makes jewelry and sells it online. Here we're saying that she is creating jewelry. We always do our best. Do, here we're just talking about an activity in general. So we use do. Do your homework. That's an activity. And don't worry if you make a mistake. Make, create a mistake. Okay, it doesn't work too well in this situation, and that's why with make and do, it is so important to learn collocations. Learn short chunks of words. So for example, don't learn the word mistake, learn the expression make a mistake. And if you learn English in that way, in groups of words, rather than individual words, you will be much less likely to make mistakes with things like this. So from the original sentence, I said, we've got a lot of cakes to do today, but you create the cakes, okay? So we need to use the verb make. We've got a lot of cakes to make today. Now I'm going to put on screen so you can see a few common expressions that we use both with make and do. As I said, if you learn them as short chunks, short groups of words, you will be much less likely to make mistakes with these two verbs. Okay, so there you have it. If you want to pause the video and have a look at those, feel free. Okay, can you find the mistake in this sentence? Let's meet up other day. Okay, other or another. Now this is a really common mistake, but it has a very simple explanation. We use other for plural nouns or uncountable nouns. Uncountable nouns means nouns that you cannot count. For example, rice. We can't say one rice, two rices. Or information. We can't say one information, two informations. Okay, so plural and uncountable nouns, we use other. And we use another for singular nouns, like a boy, another boy, a girl, another girl, a cup. Could I have another cup of tea, please? But if it's plural, I'd like to try other kinds of cuisine. Kinds is the plural. She has other responsibilities at work. Responsibilities is plural. So the original sentence, let's meet up other day. Day is a singular noun, so we have to say, let's meet up another day. Okay, here's a slightly more complicated one for you. If you see her, say her hello from me. Okay, say or tell. Well, again, it's a really common mistake with a very simple explanation. And it all depends on what follows the verb. If what follows the verb is something, like a subject-verb construction, or some speech, like hello, happy birthday, then we use say. But if the thing that follows the verb is a person, like me, her, him, John, my parents, then we use tell. Let's have a look at some examples. He said he would call later. Here, the thing that follows the verb is a thing, a subject-verb structure. He would call later. She told me about her new job. Here, the thing that follows the verb is a person, me. She told me about her new job. They said it was a fantastic concert. It was a fantastic concert. That's the thing, the subject-verb structure, the thing. So we need the verb say. But they told you, they told him, they told her, they told me that it was a fantastic concert. So from the original sentence, if you see her, say her hello from me. Say her cannot be correct, but you have a couple of different options. You can say, if you see her, say hello from me. Or you could also say, if you see her, tell plus a person, tell her, I said hello. I said plus a thing, hello. If you see her, tell her, I said hello. Okay, I'm just going to put on screen here for you a table with a few collocations that we commonly use for say and tell. Here are a few expressions that might not clearly fall into the categories that I mentioned in my explanation. So as always, feel free to pause the video and take notes. Okay, we've done more than half. Are you enjoying the video so far? Well, if you are, please take a moment to subscribe to this channel. I've got a load of really helpful grammar and pronunciation videos planned that are really going to help you take your English to an advanced level. So if you don't hit that subscribe button, you might miss them. And if you subscribe, you will be supporting me and helping me reach more people and help them with their English too. So thank you in advance for clicking that subscribe button. Okay, let's have a look at the next sentence. Where's the mistake in this one? I arrived on time for the last song. All right, on time or in time? Well, in time means early enough and avoiding a negative consequence. For example, we arrived in time to see the opening act, which is the first song of a concert. We arrived in time to see that. If we had arrived later, we would have missed that song. So a bad thing would have happened. There would have been a negative consequence if we had arrived later. So we arrived in time to see the opening act. Now, on time simply means punctual. For example, the train left on time at 9 o'clock. And that is really the difference. If you want to express the fact that something happened punctually, then we say on time. Your boss wants you to arrive to work on time every day. But if there's a negative consequence and you arrive with enough time to spare, you arrive in time. I got there in time for the presentation. Phew, because if I arrived late, I would have missed the presentation. Okay, so to correct the original sentence, I arrived on time for the last song. No, we want to express the fact that I arrived with enough time so that a negative thing didn't happen, me missing the last song. So we need to use in time. I arrived in time for the last concert. Okay, this is one that confuses many people. What's the mistake here? It's a so nice day. All right, so and such. Now you probably learnt the rule that we use such plus a noun and so plus an adjective. Well, that's half the rule. The thing is, so modifies an adjective, like it's so exciting to see you again. And such modifies a noun, like this is such a beautiful city. Is that correct? Well, yes, because beautiful city is a noun phrase. A noun phrase is an adjective and noun together that make a noun phrase. And when we have either a noun or a noun phrase, we need to use such. And just focus on the structure. When we use such, it's such a noun or noun phrase. So such a disaster or such a beautiful city. But with so, it's simply so adjective. The movie was so funny. We laughed all night. So from the original sentence, it's a so nice day? No. You have two options here. You can either say, it's so nice, or it's such a nice day. Okay, here's a tricky one. What's the mistake here? I will meet him later. Okay, will or going to? This is the problem with this sentence, and basically we use will for quick decisions. Decisions that we make while we are talking. For example, you go to a cafe and you say, I will have a coffee, thanks. But if it's a plan, if it's an arrangement, if you have something in your diary, use going to. For example, we're going to visit Italy next summer. Okay, that's a plan. We have the tickets. It's in my diary, so we use going to. But if somebody calls me and wants to speak to my friend, I say, no, he's not here. He will call you later. Boom, I make the decision. I make the decision while I'm talking, so I use will. So, from the original sentence, I will meet him later, I don't think you've just made that decision. So the more likely option here is that this is a plan, it's an arrangement, so we need going to. I am going to meet him later. Okay, number 15. What is the mistake in this sentence? Hey, see that bird eating a worm? See or look? Yes, here we don't want to use the word see, but look. Now, see is a passive observation. It's something that happens. You open your eyes and you see things. However, look is an active thing. You look at something because you want to see it. So generally, I open my curtains in the morning and I see a tree, and I see birds, and I see my garden. It's just what happens when I open the curtains. But if there is a beautiful picture on the wall and I want you to observe it, I say, hey, look at that beautiful painting. Okay, so look is an active action. It's something you do. Like he looked closely to find the answer. All right, so in the original sentence, hey, see that bird eating a worm, I'm actually telling you to look look at that bird eating a worm, because I want to bring that to your attention. Okay, the next one is pretty similar. What's the mistake here? Sorry I missed your call. I didn't listen the phone ring. Okay, so the difference between see and look is very similar to the difference between hear and listen. With hear and see, they are just passive things that happen. Okay, you open your eyes, you see, you open your ears, you hear. It's just what happens. But if you want to hear something, you listen to it. It's a more active action. For example, listen to this new song. It's amazing. Okay, here you want to hear the song, so you listen to it. But I heard a strange noise last night. That's completely passive. I was in bed and I heard a strange noise. Okay, that's passive, but she listens to podcasts on her way to work. That's active. She wants to hear them, so she listens to them. And be careful, because another very common mistake is not using the word to with listen. It must be listen to. Listen to music, listen to podcasts, listen to me. The only exception to that is if I'm giving you an imperative and I'm saying, hey, listen. Okay, so looking at the original sentence, sorry, I missed your call. I didn't listen the phone ring. That should have been, sorry, I missed your call. I didn't hear the phone ring, because we're simply talking about a passive noise or sound that happens. Okay, the next one is a very easy one, or it should be. What's the mistake here? He walked to school every day. Okay, if you're watching this video, I really hope you don't make this mistake, but I had to include it because it is a mistake that I have corrected a million times over the past 20 years, so it deserved a place in this video. Of course, I'm talking about the third person S at the end of verbs. This infuriates me mainly because I had to learn all the conjugations of all the tenses, of all the people, all the pronouns in both French and Spanish and Italian, and in English you only need to add an S if it's he, she or it. It's simple. Okay, so it's not he walk to school every morning, it's he walks to school every morning. She loves reading mystery novels, and the dog barks when it sees strangers. So, not he walked to school every day, but he walks to school every day. Okay, I said earlier that number 18 might confuse you. Well, here it is. She walked home straight after work. Okay, I'm sorry, this is grammatically perfect, but it's a pronunciation mistake that I've corrected, again, about a million times. And I'm talking about the pronunciation of ED in past tenses. There is a slightly more complicated rule, but the simple rule that I always tell my students is, if you have ED in the past tense, just pronounce it like this. Like I walk, I walked. Walked. I walked home after work. Play. Played. She played the piano beautifully. Now this is only not possible to do if the verb already ends in a t or d sound, like want or decide. In these cases, we need to pronounce the ed like id. So, they wanted to move to a new city, and decided to go to London. Okay, so it's not she walked home after school. She walked home after school. Okay, so as before, I'm going to put on screen now a few verbs which have the t ending, and some verbs where we need to use the id ending. Just as I said before, notice that the ones where we need id, the verb ends in the t or d sound, but the ed at the end of everything else can be pronounced t. Officially it's t or d, but if you want to avoid this common mistake, just use t and you'll probably be fine. Okay, back to grammar. What's the mistake in this sentence? I've had a very tired day today. Okay, ed adjectives or ing adjectives. There are many pairs of adjectives that have both forms, like bored, boring, interested, interesting, excited, exciting. And many students, like you, easily get confused between these two adjectives. Now, the rule is simple. When you have an ed adjective, like bored, interested, excited, we use those to describe a feeling. How do you feel? Well, I'm quite bored right now. Or I'm really excited because I'm going on holiday tomorrow. But we use the ing adjective, like boring, interesting, exciting, to describe your opinion of something. For example, the lecture was boring. That's your opinion. Maybe another person thought it was the best lecture ever. In your opinion, the lecture was boring. I was so bored. Okay, how did you feel? Bored. The game was so exciting yesterday. Again, that's my opinion on the game. And I find science really interesting. Interesting. Again, we have the ing adjective because that is my opinion on science. Using the ed adjective here, we could say, I am so interested in science. Okay, so the original sentence of I've had a very tired day today is wrong. I'm tired. That's how I feel. But I've had a very tiring day today because tiring, that's my opinion of the day today. Okay, the next one, here we go. We are 5 in my family. Okay, such a common mistake. If you want to talk about the number of people in a group, you have to use the structure there are, then the number of us if you are part of that group, or of them if you want to talk about them if you're not part of that group. For example, there are 5 of us planning the trip. In other words, I am planning the trip with 4 other people. There are going to be 10 of us in the office tomorrow. Okay, in other words, in the office tomorrow there will be 10 people, including me. And in the past tense, there were 100 of us at the party. Again, I'm including myself in that number, but that's the structure we need. There are, there was, there were, there will be. We can change the tense, but that's the structure we need. So it's not we are 5 in my family. If you say we are 5 in English, you're referring to your age. I am 5 means I am 5 years old. If you say we are 5 in my family, it means you are 5, your mother's 5, your father's 5, your brother's 5. Very unlikely. Okay, so instead we have to say there are 5 of us in my family. I've taught that a million times and it seems nobody believes me because it's one of those mistakes that people keep making and making and making. But trust me, it's true. Okay, quite a difficult one now. What's the mistake in this sentence? She gave me a great advice about my career. Okay, advice is an uncountable noun, and we don't use the word or un, the indefinite articles, with uncountable nouns. Now, I think the cause of this particular mistake is that the word advice is countable in many languages, but it's not in English. You can't have an advice, 2 advices. That's not possible. It's uncountable, so we either don't use the word or use the word some. Can I give you some advice? Another noun that many students make mistakes with is the noun news. For example, I've just heard some bad news. Again, it's not possible to say a bad news or 2 bad news. We can't count news. It's uncountable even though it ends with an S and looks like it's a plural. It's not, so you cannot say a bad news or a bad new in English. It has to be some bad news. We need more information before making a decision. Information, another uncountable noun. And they bought some new furniture for their house. Again, furniture is another uncountable noun. And I'll put a few other very common and confusing uncountable nouns on screen in a minute. But before I do, here's the original sentence that we looked at. She gave me a great advice about my career. Of course, here we need to say, she gave me some great advice about my career. Okay, here you have some of those more confusing uncountable nouns in English. Again, if you want to pause the video and take notes, then there you have it for your reference. So now it's time to make a quick, real difference to your English. So download the English Quick Fix pack. You're going to get summaries of all the lessons in this video. The pack also comes with a progress tracker, so you can keep track of your progress. If you do this, you're going to make a huge difference to your English. I'm so excited to be able to do this with you, and I know you're gonna love it. And it's free. Okay, now I wanted to keep this video short and neat, but I do have a lot more that I want to say about the difference between make and do. So watch that video next, okay? It's really gonna help you avoid a lot of mistakes. So thanks for watching, and bye for now.